Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Blake and Sal Show with Mark, celebrating its 10-year anniversary, dominating the podcast world. And now, let's welcome your hosts, Blake and Mark.
Once upon a time, there was a princess waiting for a boy to give back a shoe, suck it in, be a wife in a blue dress, the prettiest piece of property the land ever knew. She waited and she waited for the guy to show, but she didn't know that after midnight he was busy in her stepsister's bed. So Cinderella said, plot twist. Cinderella snapped.
Hello, welcome to the Blake and Sal Show with Mark, episode number 461. I'm your host, Blake. The BSL Podcasting Sal is off this week, dealing with some stuff. So let's bring on my co-host, the man, the myth, legend, our wrestling historian, Mark Dad. How you doing?
Doing well. Doing very well. Hey, I'm breathing. That's a good start.
That's a really good thing. And apparently spring decided to show up finally. I don't know what happened, but we finally got spring finally starting to show up around here.
Well, it's only like 3 weeks late, but
Only. All right. So because Sal's not here, I moved things around song-wise, and I just figured I had a couple of brand new songs to play, so why not do it? We opened up the show with Jack's Cinderella Snap, probably one of my favorite songs on the radio right now.
wow.
So, love this damn song. So,
Little
what was that?
is a little edgy.
I like it. That being said, let's not even like waste time, because I'm dealing with a really crazy work day. So
Okay.
I want to get right into things. So help support the show and find out how you can find the show and other projects we work on at theblakeandsalshow.com. Yeah, it's say South Park, Joe.
Hey, you can buy our shirts and stickers, hoodies, and more from our TeePublic store. Click on the TeePublic link and go to our website, or go to TeePublic and search the Blake and Sal Show. Hey, do we have our stress reliever toys in yet?
No, that's not a thing. Vital items actually available. All right, let's go break. We'll come right back. All right, we're back. Okay, world class, always plugging. I Know I Am, Mandy's book, available on Amazon. Barnes & Noble or Untapped Publishing, available in English and in Spanish. And also go listen to the Nadine and Mandy show. Should be returning very, very soon. Available on all podcasting platforms, part of the Blake and Sal Show family. All right, as always, we've been doing this out here. Let's look back at the last week in Blake and Sal Show history, and we have a lot that has happened in our history between April 22nd and May 5th. First of all, the first appearances, our old friend Kim, who has not been on the show in a few years, but her first appearance, she was on for like 3 years on the show, on April 28th, 2013. And Mandy's first appearance on this show was May 2nd, 2013. So like almost just about 10 years ago was her first appearance on this show. That's crazy. And then we have a list of interviews. People I've interviewed on this show. We've interviewed on this show. I'm gonna take a breath and go. April 25th, 2013. Me and Sal sat down with John Filipowicz. He was one of the people that did the ECW, unauthorized ECW documentary. That's actually really good. Then me and Sal also sat down with Sherry Ross on May 2nd, 2013. I sat down with Aaron Sparrow and James Stefani from the Darkwing Duck comics on April 22nd, 2016. You, me, and Sal all talked to Brian O'Halloran, literally ran in the middle of an episode of the show, did an interview with him, and then he left, and then we continued the show. That was on April 29th, 2016. That interview also can be heard in full over on Clerk's Minute, if anyone wants to go hear that. On April 28th, 2017 was the great William Daniels. Matter of fact, last week in our archive show, you can actually hear that interview. I put that interview up last week on the archives. You can hear that interview. Yes. And then April 24th, 2020, I sat down with Marilyn Gigliotti from Clerks fame. And that is that. It's a lot of things. We have a lot. See, people always laugh at me. I'm like, we've had a crazy history on this show. It's just I have to have the time to actually talk about it. And this is our way of doing it. So that is
There you
that. So here we go.
And now let's get into the crazy world of professional wrestling.
All right. So we're gonna be covering about 2 weeks worth of stuff, and because of the draft and everything else, there's not a whole lot to talk about, which is nice. I'm not gonna lie. So let's just do this. The big story that came out right before the draft was Triple H unveiled the new WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt. New champion will be crowned at Night of Champions. It is now a part of Raw. I'm very mixed on this idea, just because we do have still unified tag team champions and everything. Dad, where do you stand on the new championship belt?
I'm kind of torn only because that I thought that the original idea was basically to split the belts again and basically have one on Raw and have one on SmackDown. This new belt that you're making, especially for Raw, just kind of tells me that you've decided to kind of ignore things, or you want to try something different. But here's the thing: if you try something different, I don't think it's going to have the results that you think it's going to have, and I think it's going to be looked as a tainted belt.
People are calling it the Constellation belt, which is not a bad. That's what it is. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I think my issue is not the fact that they wanted to put a new belt on Raw. I understand that completely. Like, I get it. I hope they try to figure out a way to get the tag belts separated again. You know? But my issue, like you said, why did we just separate them? Like, I know you don't want to end Roman's Universal Championship reign. I understand that completely. Completely understandable. It's almost 1,000 days. I get it. But that being said, why didn't you say, and I think I should do this for the tag belts as well, why didn't you be like, well, whatever show Roman goes to, which is SmackDown, will have the Universal Championship. And then he has to leave, and he has to then relinquish the other belt.
Correct.
And bring it over to Raw. That's what they should have done. And we can have a same exact tournament and a champion for the WWE Championship. I don't understand why that's so difficult. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
It's not. But then here's the other caveat. With this tournament, is Roman excluded from it?
Yes, because it's a Raw only. Raw only. It's Raw only.
Okay, because here's the thing.
They made that pretty clear on Monday.
Okay, because that was my concern, that if there's no caveat and you let Roman into the tournament and he wins,
no.
Now he's the belt collector.
No. The way it's explained is he is on SmackDown. His championship is on SmackDown. This is a Raw only belt. So they can't do the Roman wins the title thing. So they can't do that.
See, then my thing is you let him keep the Universal belt, which is the black belt.
Which is the blue one. Which is the blue one. And then the red one is the WWE championship. Yeah.
And then what you do is you take the red belt and you put it in the archives and say, okay, we're done with this.
Well, here's the problem with that. There's a problem there. Then you know what you're doing. You're archiving the WWE Championship.
Well,
that gets rid of the legacy of the WWE Championship. And they're not going to do that.
Okay, so
that's the problem. Now you see the problem here. You know what I mean?
Right. So here's the thing. When do you say when? I mean, would you get to the 1,000 days and say, okay, it's nice, it's real, and we just now we do what we wanted to do, or do you keep on going?
That's the problem. That's why I don't understand why they didn't split the belts. I don't get it. Because you have that champions where you easily, that's going to be the next time you see Roman more than likely, right? Or SmackDown before Night Champions or whatever, and he's not going to be a Backlash. That's all I know. He's the next show is champions after that, and that's Saudi Arabia. Right. And you know he's going to be there because they always pay him to be there.
Right.
My whole issue, and you said it perfectly, why didn't they split the belt at Night Champions then?
Correct.
Like, I don't understand the point.
Because here's the thing. Roman has already set a record.
Oh, yeah. Well, modern day record. He is, I think, number 5 all time.
Right. So my thing is since he basically got that, what else do you want him to accomplish? He's not going to be the longest reigning champion, because here's the thing: no one wants long reigning championships to go on anymore.
That's the problem, though.
I mean-
I agree with you to a point.
Mhm.
I agree with you to a point. But how do you bring that back if you do it? And they're doing it. We always say we want longer champion reigns. We've always said that on the show. We've always said that. But
Right.
now that we're doing it, suddenly it's a problem. That's
Because
the problem, Matt.
here's the thing. Because here's the thing: Roman's not going to be able to get to that echelon where, like Bruno Sammartino.
Oh, I agree. I'm not arguing with that.
You know, so my thing is, if that's what they're looking to accomplish, it's not going to happen. I mean, you're going to lose a lot of fans if that's what you want to do. But
Are they though?
here's
Are they though? Ratings are the highest they've ever been. The ratings are the highest they've been in 5 years. Are they going to lose people?
But I think the majority of the fans in WWE don't want to see that long of a title reign, because
How do you
it's
know
like,
though?
okay,
How
he
do you
wins
know
again.
that for a fact?
Okay, he
How
wins
do you know
again.
that for a fact? Because
I-
obviously no one's gone anywhere during this during the first 1,000 days. Nobody
Okay,
has gone anywhere. As a matter of
so
fact,
now-
ratings have
so-
gone up.
So now here's the thing, okay? Roman has, and I'll put a cliche. Roman has gone through basically the roster list and is still on top. So now, with the draft being done and finished, and you've got new blood to speak of, do you put them in the hunt?
Yes, but at the same time, if he's only doing what 3 pay-per-views a year, does it really make much of a difference?
So would you say at this point that Roman's contract is, how can I put this? A contract where basically, I'll say it out loud, he's large and in charge.
No, I think he was just smart and negotiated in his contract as champion that he doesn't have to be on every show. And you know what? I have to admit, that's pretty damn brilliant.
So now,
I thought he was brilliant.
right. So now this brings me to the other question. Because there's always that caveat that a championship had to be defended in 30 days.
That's not a thing anymore. You know that.
Well, here's the thing.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
I know.
Let me just say it in my head. Shinsuke Nakamura had the IC championship for like a year, and he didn't defend it for 6 months. Nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares.
Right.
Like,
I mean, is this something that you
Brock Lesnar held the belt for 2 years?
Yeah. So
And people cared, but still, it didn't matter.
So here's the thing that I'm looking at is, do you think that something like that would come back?
No, because then the whole Roman Reigns title reign doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I mean, here's the thing: don't you want and
That's what the new championship's for. Apparently,
okay. So now, and this is just me. I'm not talking for anyone. It's just me. Don't you think you'd want other people to have that chance to see what they can do for the company?
I agree, but at the same time, I insert John Cena. John Cena was 16-time champion. He won the belt a lot. He held the belt for over a year. Right. And yeah, there was the John Cena haters. But honestly, did business go down when John Cena was champion for over a year? No, they did not, because it was John Cena. I think Roman Reigns has finally reached John Cena status. I think that's happened.
Right. I think, and I could be wrong, but I think they're looking at now, with the draft being done and new people coming into each Raw and SmackDown, that there is a possibility that they're looking for a new talent, a new face that they want to put the belt on or belts on and take it to another level. And the perfect example is like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
But they're not on his roster. They're on the Raw roster. And
Right.
they're team champions.
Right. So now
it doesn't matter now.
Right. So I mean, that there are a lot of things that happen that now you got like a lot of questions that are up in the air, and we don't know if they're going to be answered or they're going to be changed or rectified. And that's the whole thing. We have no idea what is going to happen, if anything.
Yeah, I still don't like the fact I coded him with the title of Mania, but that's just me. So by the way, I looked this up real fast. We're about to hit 1,000 days, correct? In WWE history,
Correct.
I wanted to know because I was curious myself. So after that, the next title reign is Pedro Morales at 1,027. Roman will definitely pass that for sure. So then it'll be fourth.
No doubt.
And then the next one is Bruno Sammartino's second reign, which is hysterical. The fact he has 2 reigns in the top 4. That's funny to me.
Yeah.
Hysterical to me. But his second reign is 1,237. And then Hulk Hogan is 1,470.
So
that's another year.
yeah,
But
so here's the
I don't think
thing.
he's gonna hit that one. I don't think he's gonna hit 14,000, but I think he can pass that 1237. which is insane anyway.
He'll break Pedro's for sure. I'm not sure if he'll get to Sammartino's second reign or not.
That's 12 with 200 days. When's the next WrestleMania? In less than a year, so it's possible.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Do we have a new face that basically is going to come out of this and
I don't know.
have this a big fan gathering and get this tremendous push?
Yeah, with
I mean-
Cody Rhodes, and they messed it up. It was Cody. It was Cody.
Well, there is a second chance to correct that, and they're looking into it, and hopefully they're going to pull the trigger on it.
By the way, for those that are younger listening to this, and our audience is a little younger, that don't know the history of the WWF WWE Championship,
Mhm.
I brought it up with Roman Sammartino's the first Roman Sammartino reign.
Mhm.
We'll end this conversation here. I do want to move on to the draft talk. But for those who don't know, Bruno Sammartino held the belt for 2,803 days. So if you guys are complaining about 1,000 days, imagine if they tried to break that record. Like, Jesus Christ.
Also, that was during the era where basically Bruno had a solid big fan base, and
Was
they
he
didn't
like,
want
was
to
he
rock
like a
the boat.
god in New York? Was he like a god in New York at that time in the 60s?
Yeah, I mean,
God.
I believe that he was so popular, he got the key to New York from the mayor, and I think it's sort of a proclamation on Bruno Sammartino Day. And the thing is at that time there was this big fan base, and you have to look at it.
Italians in
The
New York.
majority of fan
Italians in
base,
New York, yeah.
Italian American.
Yeah, I agree.
Right,
By
so
the way, I do
basically-
say the only thing I think that record. I know he had the record for most sellouts at the Garden, and I think that was recently broken by Billy Joel. That says a lot. Like
There you go.
By Billy
There you
Joel,
go.
that says a lot to me.
And here's the thing with the Vince and the company, and then want to rock the boat because here there was all about, the cash cow. We want money, and Bruno's getting the money for us. So let's keep this going. Let's keep the party going.
All right, before we get to the draft, I do want to plug one thing. I'm in the middle of an
Right.
audiobook right now, and it's called Ringmaster by Abraham Weidman. It's on Audible. It's all available everywhere. It is actually an unauthorized autobiography of Vince McMahon.
Okay.
And it is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Like I've just gotten into the new generation era, like right between the 80s and the Attitude Era. I'm in there right now, where he just fired Warrior for giving commands at SummerSlam. I'm at that point. So but it's a really good breakdown. If you want to know the history of WWF history, this is a very, very good book for that. I'll get back to it. Another book drop today, so I want to listen to that first.
Okay.
I'll come back to it, but hopefully by next 2 weeks back, I'll be done with it.
Okay. Is there anything that in this book that has come out that you or anyone else hasn't know about regarding?
Not really.
McMahon
If you know the
regime?
history of Vince McMahon, but it's interesting to hear it in order. Like it's actually really interesting to hear things in order, and hear it from people like Dave Meltzer and people that lived it. Not from and actually, they're also quoting Vince from interviews and from documentaries and things like that. It's interesting. What they're doing is actually really interesting because they're bringing Vince into the story without actually bringing him into the story. If that makes sense, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's actually interesting how they did it. So definitely recommend. So go and listen to that if you have a chance. It's a long book. Like I said, I'm halfway through it, but it's really good.
Good.
If bullshit you people listening, for those wondering why I haven't finished it, number one, I'm a big podcast person, so I listen to a lot of podcasts. And the other thing is, one of my Emma Lovell's book just dropped today, and I want to listen to that first. So I'm going to listen to that, and then I'll come back over to this. So, being honest. All right, let's get over to the draft. We're not going to go through the whole draft. But the problem is, I'm not going to lie, two things. First of all, somewhat was somewhat predictable in some cases. That's number one.
Uh-huh.
And number two, I wasn't paying attention on Monday. Game 7, Devils Rangers are going on Monday. I was not paying attention. I am not even going to bullshit anybody listening. We had both on. I had the game on my laptop, and I had Raw up on the screen on the TV. I could not tell you 70% what happened on Raw. I couldn't tell you because I was not paying attention.
I understand where you're coming, and
Just being honest with people here. So
you're the New Jersey Devils, and my hat's off to them. Have advanced to another round. Good for them. And here's the thing. I'd want them to go further. Let's see where this goes.
well, as people listen to this, it's Friday. Game 2 is tonight. Hopefully, they've won game 1. And if they didn't, guess what? They lost the first 2 games in the last series, too. So who knows? Who the hell knows what's going to happen? I learned that last
Here's the
series.
thing.
Who knows?
Here's the thing that I found out with the New Jersey Devils is the
young and scrappy?
term that you can use for them, unpredictable.
Well, they're young and scrappy. That's what they are. They're young and scrappy.
Well, there you go. And you can tell by the fights.
Well, there was only a couple. Well, you're also going with the Devil Rangers series. We can't base that off a Devil Rangers series. It's Dad, you didn't live through Devil Rangers in the 90s. I did.
No, I did.
Trust me. What you saw in this 7-game series is nothing compared to the Devil Rangers in the 90s. So just throwing it out there.
That's like the Brewers and the Cubs. So yeah.
Oh yeah. So anyway, let's get to the draft. What I did take notes on. What I did was I went through the champions. Obviously some champions stuff, and then we went through some of the big stuff, and then I went to NXT call-up. But that's really, for me, that's the most important part, is the call-ups for NXT. So we'll get to that in a second. So first of all, the Bloodline, despite teasing them, despite the teases, the entire Bloodline is staying on SmackDown, including Roman Reigns. And
I'm sorry.
And the Usos and everybody else. Usos, by the way, did lose the rematch against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens last Friday, which surprised some people because they figured they would want those belts defended in Saudi Arabia, and Sami didn't go to Saudi Arabia. So, but apparently they did not change that. So there you go. Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, they switched shows as champions. Now here's my problem. I get what they're doing here, because also the Street Profits went over to SmackDown as well, because you're not going to break up Bianca and Montez.
Correct.
My problem, and I've had the problem a couple of years ago. So you're switching shows, so now you have to switch championships. Because it's one thing. Right. It's one thing for Gunther and Austin Theory to switch shows. They switch the belts, but you don't have to switch championships. Get to the IC and US champions.
Right.
Here's my problem. Bianca just had this year-plus reign. So if you switch belts, does that end the reign?
Good question.
And does it start a brand new SmackDown reign?
And unfortunately, me personally, I don't have the answer. But here's the thing. Do you put a asterisk or something and basically notate it that okay, this is Raw, and now
that's the problem I'm having here. So somebody brought up, I think it was Jason Powell, said it perfectly. Why don't they rename the women's championships? Like you have the World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE Championship or the Universal Championship. Why don't you do something like that for the women? So then it's not Raw and SmackDown centric. So you don't have this problem every couple of years. You don't have to have this problem.
I mean, here's the thing. If you're making a new belt for Raw, why can't you make a different belt for the women?
Well, I mean, that keep the belts. Let's change the names. Why do they have to be Raw SmackDown centric? I think the same thing about the tag team titles. Why do they have to be Raw and SmackDown centrics? Then, because remember, with the Profits and the New Day, they had to do the belt swap, and it was so stupid. It was so dumb. And then you had the uncomfortable Charlotte Becky one in the ring. It's so stupid.
Okay, so now here's the thing that I'm going to ask, and I'll probably get flack for it, but I don't
Just
care.
say it. Just say it.
Okay, so now if you've got them switching to different programs per se or companies, wouldn't it be fair to say, okay, since you're switching and you're no longer champion of this company,
Or the show really.
basically have it to have a tournament to make a new champion?
But then you would end Bianca's reign anyway. And then what does Rhea Ripley winning the title at Mania mean? That's the problem with your logic. Like, what is the point of having the title reign start at Mania, and then it moves, then it messes up things for the Judgment Day? There's so many problems with your idea because it messes up everything. It messes up everything.
But things are already messed up.
So I agree, but I'm just saying, no offense, but your way actually messes it up more. It actually messes things up more.
Because my thing is the storyline you provided for each of them no longer makes sense.
Oh, I agree with you, but I think stripping them with the belt actually makes it make less sense. You know,
you would think, and I know I'm thinking logically, and Vince and other people don't.
Well, Vince, okay, let me clarify something because we always say Vince. Vince is not in charge of creative. Triple H is in charge of creative. I have to just clarify that. And then a lot of people are like, "Oh, Vince is watching the show." Vince got involved the day after WrestleMania. He occasionally will reach out. He'll occasionally have ideas, and I've heard he'll change a show, saying something once in a blue moon. But at the end of the day, Triple H is in charge of creative. Let's just clarify that.
So storylines be damned.
I don't know. The only thing that did make sense was when they said Brock Lesnar's a free agent. He's always been a free agent. So that shouldn't surprise anybody. He's always been a free agent. At least him being a free agent. At least him being a free agent makes sense for his character. That does make perfect sense for his character. Somebody can explain to me.
But
he's a free agent.
Brock has always been allowed to go wherever he wants to go, and that's
fine. That's Brock's character. I understand that. It tracks. Well, why is Omos a free agent? Why is Baron Corbin a free agent? Why is Dolph Ziggler a free agent? Why is Von Wagner a free agent? None of that makes sense. That makes any sense to me at all.
But the whole thing is, when you use the term free agent, I mean, it's like what? Is he like a future draft pick? Is that?
I don't know. I think what's funny about it, NXT, they tried. I will jump to NXT call-ups, but now that I mentioned Von Wagner, as much as I can't stand the guy. They tried to cover it on NXT this week. Where what was it? The fuck's his name? Von Wagner's manager. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Stone. He was sitting down with Wagner, and he said, "Now that you're listed as a free agent, you're waiting for Raw or SmackDown to call you to select what show you're on. So try to step up your game down here." That at least makes sense. They try their damnedest to make that make sense.
That is why,
for an NXT person, that makes sense to me. Like,
I mean, and that to me, that's the whole term of free agent is basically you're up for grabs for either company to say, okay, I want you.
Yeah, at least in NXT, they're trying to make that make sense. I mean, they're trying.
And here's the thing: when it comes to Brock basically like, oh, I don't care who wants me.
Exactly,
that's fair. I'm going to do,
and that's fine. Like I said, that's Brock's character.
So now, because Brock's a free agent, does that mean that everyone else's free agent is going to follow Brock's lead?
I don't know.
So I mean, you never know when they're going to show up or where.
True. All right, let's go over NXT. Like we said, NXT call. First of all, we'll go in order of how they happened. NXT Tag Team Champions Alba Fire and Isla Dawn got drafted to SmackDown. The NXT Women's Champion Indy Hartwell got drafted to Raw. So I have zero issue with this personally because I've done it in the past. My thing was, and we'll fast forward a minute here because we had also Katana Chance and Kaden Carter got drafted to Raw. Now the problem here is on Friday they did this whole thing where they said Chance and Carter who to challenge Alba Fire and Isla Dawn for the titles on Tuesday to keep the belt in NXT, and then they got drafted to Raw. They didn't win the match anyway, and the belts are still on Alba Fire and Isla Dawn on SmackDown.
Okay, and now that brings me to the other question, but I think we should probably bring up Indy Hartwell
Yeah.
first.
Indy Hartwell goes to Raw. Now, here's the problem. I think Indy was going to drop the title anyway. Because she got hurt. She legitimately got hurt.
Right.
And I think she was going to go drop the belt anyway. So they give
Yes.
the excuse of she's going to go to Raw with Dexter and everyone in the way. They're all going to Raw.
Mhm.
By the way, it is funny because Johnny and Candace, Dexter and Indy are now all on the same show.
Coincidence, isn't it?
Well, I knew Candace and Johnny were going to stay together, but it's interesting they put them way back together on Raw.
And Indy mentioned that.
So anyway, so I have a feeling she was going to drop the title anyway. But now this gave me an excuse. We're going to leave the NXT Women's Championship in NXT. We're going to we'll have a tournament starting next week, and then we'll have the winner crowned at Battleground on Memorial Day weekend. No problem with that. I think that's a great idea. They got a fantastic idea. You brought up something before we went on the air. You have issues with the fact they didn't do the same thing for the tag belts. Go ahead.
Correct. I mean, my whole thing is when they did drafts in the past, is that if they have call-ups from, and at that time it was in NXT.
No, it was always been NXT. It's always been
Right.
NXT became the draft.
Is that when you came up to a main roster, that if you have a title, you would relinquish it and come to
Not
the
really.
main roster?
Not really, because most of the time what they would do, and this is
Uh-huh.
actually because I know because they've had this discussion on 8 years back.
Okay.
They wouldn't do that. What they would do is do a lot like they were going to do with the tag belts, where you have someone they have defense,
Mhm.
and then you drop it on the next show, like you did with when Seth Rollins got caught up. He dropped the belt to Big E. When Big E
Right.
got caught up, he dropped the belt, I think, to Bo Dallas. When
Mhm.
Bo Dallas was getting called up, he dropped the belt to Neville. Like,
Mhm.
that's what they were doing with the women's
Right.
championship. The only time they've ever done this with the women's championship, I think, with Asuka. And that had nothing to do with anything except they didn't want her to get pinned, which I understand because they had the winning streak going on, so they had a relinquish title. But like, this is weird to me how they did this inconsistently. Like, it's very inconsistent what they did here.
I mean, if you're going to pass on the tag belts and Kiden and Katana got called up to the main roster, then there should have been another tag team.
I agree.
in a
100%
speedway
agree. 100% agree.
that basically should have got the belts.
I
But
100% agree. We should have made a triple threat on Tuesday,
right.
but I don't know who they would have put in there, but I agree with you 100% on that.
So now Trips has basically muddied the waters.
Well, did he though? I don't know. They can figure something out. They have time. The Memorial Day weekend is their next show. Maybe they'll have something big booked. I don't know. Problem is, I can't even give you a tag team, an NXT women's tag team that can beat them right now, especially since Chance and Carter are now on Raw. Like, I can't even give you one because everyone broke up in the last 6 months. Like, everyone's broken up.
Well,
They're hurt, or they're hurt.
you know, the team with Ivy was
But
promising.
they broke up too. They broke up too.
They broke up that. So
Like,
I mean,
Val Henley and what's her name? They broke up.
right.
So like, there's no women's tag teams right now in NXT. So that's the problem. And then you also realize like they were doing something with Soruka, but then she got hurt. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I have a feeling they don't have a tag team to put it on right now because they called up Chance and Carter. That's the problem.
So my theory is, okay, you let them keep the NXT belts, and then they have a title defense on the roster. So does that mean whoever else wins the belts goes to the NXT?
I guess that's the logic. I guess, but it all depends on who beats them. Remember, what was it? Was it Solo? He was North American champion, and then he defended it on SmackDown randomly, and then he had to relinquish the belt on NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they remember that? Like, so like, I don't know. They're very inconsistent with this. They always have been. Always have been. Like, I don't have a clue why, but they've always been inconsistent with this.
I guess time will tell. We're gonna find out what happens. I mean, we'll see where it goes.
So the rest of the NXT call-ups, here we go. I cracked up laughing when I saw Apollo Crews got redrafted to Raw. That cracked me up. I'm not gonna lie. That made me laugh. So I'm like, really? Apollo got redrafted? And then also Jinder Mahal also got redrafted to Raw with Indus Sher, with Sangha and Veer. Which, by the way, I gotta admit, you put Sangha and Veer in front of like KO and Sammy, and that could be a hell of a mismatch tag team match. That could be a lot of fun. That could be a lot of fun.
Actually, I would like them to, have a shot at the Viking Raiders.
That would be also fun. That would also be a very fun matchup. That would be cool. Like that's
I mean,
something that's the idea. That's an idea I like. I like that a lot, actually. They're
a
on the same roster.
dominating
Viking Raiders are on Raw
tag
too. They're on Raw too. So that would be something different. And you could do a
team.
tag team rivalry without the belts.
Right. I mean, I looked at these guys and I'm looking at it's going to be a matter of time before the belts are on them.
I can't argue that. They're very. You know what they remind me of? They remind me of like a Luke Harper and Eric Rowan when they were the Bludgeon Brothers. That's what they're
Yeah.
me of. So
Or like
I like that gimmick a lot more than a lot of people did. So like I like that gimmick a lot. So
or the Wild Samoans.
oh yeah, well, I'm just using more like recent
Modern.
comparison because I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed that gimmick more than a lot of people did. So let's see here. We have JD McDonough, Zoe Stark, Odyssey Jones. They all got drafted to Raw. JD McDonough did have a fucking amazing match on Tuesday night with Dragon Lee to send off.
Oh
that was fucking fantastic. SmackDown though, I think the free agents, the free agent ones are funny. It's Van Wagner and Zion Quinn. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot Zion Quinn still worked here until he got put on a free agent list. I completely forgot he still worked here.
You're probably not the only one.
I think Zion Quinn still works here. Okay, because I complain about Von Wagner all the time because at least he's on television. I have no idea what Zion Quinn is.
My whole thing with Von Wagner, okay, and don't get me wrong, but he doesn't seem to have the charisma.
Anything at all? Okay, you can't barely.
I mean, here's the thing: if you would have a match against what's his name, Hank, I think that Von would lose. I really do, and Hank would get over.
So on SmackDown, the big ones, I thought these are great moves. First of all, Cameron Grimes finally moving to SmackDown. I'm excited. I'm so excited for this. Really
anyone deserves
to do it right.
Right. If anyone deserves to be called up to a main roster, it is him.
I agree. It's been a while we've seen him, and I think maybe he was hurt until they finally got him on the roster. Big deal.
There have been images of him, and I'm telling you, if you expect him to look like he did the way in NXT, you're going to be greatly surprised.
I'm happy to hear that. I'm not going to lie. I'm very happy to hear that. The other one that I cracked up because of last Tuesday's NXT, Pretty Deadly, came back from the dead and got drafted to SmackDown.
Yes, boy.
Okay, I have to say something because I didn't know this happened. I heard about this on a podcast today. So you know what Pretty Deadly did? You know what they did? And I give them all the credit in the world for this.
Go ahead.
They did not have to do this. Because the last time we saw Pretty Deadly, they were thrown in the river for dead by Stacks and
D'Angelo.
D'Angelo. The last time we saw them, well, they get drafted to SmackDown, and they put up a video with them crawling out of the river, saying, "Oh, we almost died." I cracked up laughing when I saw that. I'm like, "Thank you for being you, because you guys are the reason why it works. This is why it works so well, because you guys do stuff like that." I hope people on SmackDown are ready for this because they are so unique that I hope people are ready for it.
I guess we'll see what will happen. I mean,
oh my god, I'm excited. I really am excited for it.
I mean, here's the thing: they're on SmackDown.
They're on SmackDown.
Okay.
I almost say if they're going to split up the tag belts, you put them in tournament for the title. Then you want to put the belts on right away. You put those belts on them right away if they're going to put the tag belts up. That's what I would do.
Have them go against the Street Profits.
That'd be fun. That'd be great. Talk about two completely different teams that never face each other. That's
correct.
So interesting. Oh my god.
Correct.
And then the other big one that was literally the last draft pick announced. It was on Raw Talk. It was the last thing announced, and I think it's the steal of the fucking draft. Grayson Waller is on SmackDown. This is amazing. He's one of the best heels in NXT. And I think he can lead the fucking if they really want to do that, they can have him lead the fucking mid card on SmackDown as US champion. Like, this is a big move, and I think it's a great move for him to be on the main roster finally.
Yes. He brings in a lot of he brings a lot of everything. I mean, he seems to, he's a jokester, and then there's times when he's very serious, and then there are times when he's got that high energy that he brings. So I mean, for him to come up on the main roster on SmackDown, I think this is going to work in his benefit. And if he goes against Austin Theory and takes the title, I think that's a good thing.
I
And
agree.
you're going,
I agree.
and you're going to see a somewhat of a change, if you want to say, as far as him getting a broader fan base, because right now he's got that charisma, and
The
it's
other
going to
thing about him, a lot of people don't realize, is he is also a reality TV star. He was on Australian Survivor. He's friends with all the reality. That's the one thing that people don't realize about reality television is like the Big Brother, Survivor, Amazing Race people are all friends. Like they have
Right.
parties together and they do all stuff together. Like Johnny Fairplay, who also does ProWrestling.net stuff. He
Mhm.
has a podcast that is pretty much just him hanging out with his reality TV friends because they all
Yeah.
friends are all in one big group.
All right.
So like he has all that. He's like the Miz. For the Miz is popular because people know who he is. He's what SmackDown needs. I think the Miz is on Raw. Like it's a very, very big deal. I think people are underestimating this if you've never watched NXT, how big of a deal this will be.
I mean, the potential was if Grayson would have been chosen to go to Raw, and he would go against the Miz.
I think you can't have them on the same roster. I don't think you can have Miz and him on the same roster. That's my thing. I think you have to have them separate. I think separating them is better for Grayson Waller in the long run because then you're not comparing him to the Miz. Be completely honest here.
I guess so, because then what do you do with Logan Paul?
Logan Paul can do whatever the hell he wants. Logan Paul wasn't drafted. Logan Paul was a free agent. It cracked me up, by the way. He's like a free agent.
There we go.
That's funny to me. They made this big deal Logan Paul, and he's not even like he wasn't even drafted anywhere. I think that's hysterical to me. Trish Stratus was drafted, but Logan Paul was not drafted. I don't understand this at all.
He is kind of like the forgotten about free agent. Oh, we'll bring him back when we need him.
Just so funny to me.
Agent, but
it's hysterical to me. One other thing before we go to Backlash, I don't know if you heard this yet, but I know this is a big deal. Carmella is officially on maternity leave. Carmella and Corey Graves are having a kid, and I'm really excited for them. I know Carmella had some issues with pregnancy in the past, and she's finally pregnant, and they're having a kid. And they announced it the other day. They're going to be making a big announcement of it. So congratulations to them. I'm really happy for them. I love the two of them as people. So I'm really excited for the two of them.
Congratulations, Corey. I'm surprised. Well, maybe he doesn't want to like bring in,
I think they're going to bring it up on TV because Carmella's not on television, and they want to bring that part probably on TV. Plus, I think after their last pregnancy issues, I don't think they want to talk about it on regular television. To be honest with you,
I think they're just going to hope for the best and see what happens.
They put up, by the way, if you're following them on Instagram, they put up one of the thirstiest fucking trap photo shoots to announce a pregnancy I've ever seen for someone announcing a pregnancy. Go check those pictures now. Boy, the two of them are fucking hot together. Those are amazing. So.
Just don't follow the Kim Kardashian way, please.
That's why I'm saying do the go follow Mela. Well, Mela is fucking hot. So like she put the picture all the time, but I thought this was one of the best photo shoots I've ever put up because it was the most crappy pregnancy announcement I've ever seen in my life. But it was amazing at the same time.
Just wait till the bump gets bigger.
Okay, so that's that. Let's do this. You know what's funny is when I heard this music in the commercials, I thought it was just like a WWE like music they put up there just to have for the commercials. And no, this is actually a real song. This is called Franco Latino by Alabama Music. I did not know this was a real song. It's actually available on Spotify as a legitimate song. I'm like, okay, good for them. They actually paid for a song for this.
I thought it was a Bad Bunny song myself.
No, because I looked it up and I thought like a Bad Bunny song would be the theme song of the show. I would have thought too. And like the Booker T song has also been all over the place. The Bad Bunny Booker T song, I thought that was going to be a theme. And that was easy for them. But no, they did this song. It's completely different. I like it. It's something different. You know what I mean? I get credit for something different.
Okay.
It's this theme. Because we have WWE Backlash in Puerto Rico, hosted by Bad
Puerto
Bunny.
Rico.
Hosted by Bad Bunny. By the time this show goes up, I know they're doing a press conference on the cock,
Correct.
hosted by Bad Bunny, and then SmackDown's also going to be in Puerto Rico this week. So that's the last SmackDown before the roster split officially becomes official. It'll be
Correct.
Friday. But then we have Backlash. This is a really strange card.
That's what I thought, but
Now, the thing is, here's my problem with this card.
go ahead.
You can tell some of these matches are just thrown together.
Mhm.
Hang on a second, I gotta pause the recording. Please stand by. So what's interesting about this card for me is that it's like, let's put matches together, and then we'll have the drafts. So who knows if it matters? This is a strange show. This is stranger than Saudi Arabia cards sometimes. Because it's like,
Well,
I
well,
don't
case-
get this card.
Well, case in point, the first match.
Yeah, well, we'll start from the bottom to the top. We'll talk about everything.
Go ahead.
The matchup, apparently from what I'm hearing, nobody told Seth Rollins this match was happening until it announced on SmackDown. Until it got announced on SmackDown, no one told him. No one told him. So he's been doing his damnedest to make this work. Even though his main storyline now is going after the new World Heavyweight Championship. So I don't understand the point of all this, but it is Seth Rollins versus Omos. There's nothing to talk about here. There's nothing to talk about.
The only thing that I've got is a big question mark. Why?
I guess the only thing I can see is they're gonna have Seth win, and then he's gonna be the first World Heavyweight Champion. Because everyone's saying Cody. I think it's gonna be Seth, personally. And I think this will be the big win, saying, look, I beat the biggest guy on the roster, so I'm gonna put myself in this tournament to win the title. That's the only thing I got. That's all I got.
So that wouldn't be so far-fetched to say that it would be a match between him and Cody for the belt.
I don't know what that is. I don't know. We'll find out the tournament brackets. I think, for those wondering, because we don't usually preview Saudi shows on our show, but because of this title, and here's the problem we're running into. Memorial Day weekend, there's 3 shows we're going to have to talk about on here, because we have AEW Double or Nothing, we have NXT Battleground, and then we have this tournament going on in Saudi Arabia, all in the same weekend. And I'm not even watching that show live, the Saudi show live, because we have a birthday party to go to. So I'll be watching that one on delay. So it's good. And I'm not watching NXT show live because we're paying for freaking Double or Nothing. I'll be watching that on Memorial Day. It's going to be a strange weekend. So I think what we're going to do is we'll talk about the tournament only when we get there. When they announce the brackets, when we come to that weekend, because we're going to have so much other things to talk about. We're going to talk about the brackets. I don't think it's smart to do Seth versus Cody in the final. I don't think it's smart. I think you do something else, because now Seth is the face. Well, Seth is the heel the whole of the story, but now Seth is the face.
Okay.
And I don't think you want to do that Seth Cody rematch in Saudi Arabia.
So
I think you do like something like a Seth versus Drew. Something like that.
Do you still have a storyline where Cody would basically unseat Roman?
Yes.
To become
I think you find a way to get a rematch with Roman at SummerSlam. I just don't know how. I have no idea how. Don't know how we get there. But I think you do something where you have Cody get a title shot against Roman at SummerSlam. I think the title reign should end at SummerSlam. That's what I personally think. And then I've also been saying that for a while. I know Sal agrees with me on that too. So, but yeah. So we're agreeing that Seth wins this match, though?
Without a doubt. I don't see why you wouldn't.
Okay. United States Championship. It is Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, Bronson Reed. Now, when they were all on the same roster, this match made sense. But now, Bronson Reed's on Raw, Bobby and Austin Theory are on SmackDown. I don't see the point in dropping the title now, because originally when they had Bobby go over to Raw, over to SmackDown, and you kept Austin Theory on Raw, then I'm like, okay, maybe they'll put the belt on Bobby over on SmackDown. But now that they put Austin Theory over there, I don't see the point in dropping the belt. So Austin Theory retains.
Here's the thing: Austin Theory is going to retain, and now with Cameron Grimes coming into the scene, I think he's going to be in the hunt for the belt.
Ooh, maybe have Cameron Grimes. Oh my God. I just realized something. Cameron Grimes, LA Knight, and Grayson Waller are all on the same roster.
Oh my
Oh my
god!
God. That just
Oh
dawned on
my
me.
god!
That's gonna be fun. That just dawned on me.
Oh my god! So
Oh my God. That could be the best like
so
mid card
so
ever. That could be that best mid card.
so
You throw it
you
all
can
the game in that mess.
you can honestly say that all those individuals would be in the hunt against Austin Theory
Oh
for
my
the
God. I
belt.
didn't even think about that. That could be amazing. That could be amazing.
Fatal 4-way. Imagine it.
Oh wow. All right. Back to the card. I think Austin Theory retains, by the way. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean,
I
there's
originally
no
was saying Bronson Reed before they left him on Raw. That was my original thought with Bronson Reed, and then they left him on Raw.
correct. And here's the thing. Now there is no real hurry to basically get the belt off of him.
Exactly. I just thought that was my original thought was going to be Bronson Reed until they changed things.
Yep,
Okay.
that's what I was going for.
Okay. This is where things get dumb. The SmackDown Women's Championship, defended by Rhea Ripley, who's a Raw wrestler, against Puerto Rico's own Zelina Vega. There's no chance in hell you're taking the belt off Rhea. There's no chance, especially since you're gonna they just put her on Raw as champion. Like, I love Zelina. I love the NWO, but there's no way.
Here's the thing. Never say never.
But no,
I mean,
don't even play this. There's no way.
Here's the thing. You could have her drop the belt to Selena.
No, you can't.
No, listen. Hear me out. And then what happens is the backing of Selena changes.
I don't know. No, I know. Leave it alone. Keep the belt on Rhea. Keep Judgment Day by itself. You have Zelina Vega go back over to SmackDown with the OWO and get stronger, and then eventually win the SmackDown, whatever the hell the championship over on SmackDown is down the road. That's how I look at it. I'm sorry. I love Zelina. Please don't get me wrong, people. I love Zelina Vega. I've had for a long time since she was managing Andrade Almas in fucking NXT. I've loved her since then. But I no way in hell they do this right now. I can't. The only reason she's got the title match because it's in Puerto Rico. That's the only reason. And this will be the time where the Puerto Rican actually loses because we'll have the main event and we'll get to there. Raw Women's Championship defended by SmackDown wrestlers. Go figure. Bianca Belair defending against Io Sky. So originally, before they drafted Damage Control over to SmackDown, I figured you have Io Sky beat Bianca, keep the belt on Raw. And then they moved Damage Control over to SmackDown. And we don't even know what they're doing off the title, so I don't see Bianca losing.
No. I mean, if there would be a title change, you would make the storyline so more complicated than
Exactly.
that you would lose you would lose people trying to figure it out. So,
I agree. Quick question. Does Damage Control make it to SummerSlam? Do you think you're going to be together through SummerSlam?
no.
I don't think so either. As much as I love them, I don't think either.
I see Io Sky leaving Damage Control, but then now with the call-ups and the draft done, I mean, who do you see coming in?
I don't know. I actually see Io and Dakota turning on Bayley and going off on their own, and then Bayley being top face on SmackDown. They don't. Her and Bianca would be one A, 1B then.
Yeah, I would say that would be probably a good possibility.
That's probably leaning towards.
And unless you bring in.
That's the problem. We don't have any options. There's not many options. The only thing I know, she's on Raw. Looking at the call-ups, that she's on Raw. They drafted everybody over to Raw, so like all the women went to Raw except for Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. So like, there's really nobody else here to work with that. So,
well, do you bring in Dakota's old tag team partner and friend?
Tegan Knox? Isn't she on the roster? Isn't she hurt again?
I believe she's hurt, but I believe she's on the SmackDown roster.
But at that point, though, she's hurt again. This is the problem with Tegan.
Oh, then but I mean the logical thing would be for Io and Dakota to turn on Bailey, and now let's see if Bailey's got any friends that are gonna bail her ass out.
I swear to God, if they do Bianca and Bailey versus Io and Dakota, I will crack up laughing and enjoy every single second of it.
Oh god. See, that's something that's too predictable, but it's probably gonna happen.
Exactly. Speaking of a match, this next match feels like the main event of an international. Like, remember those pay-per-views they used to do back in the day, where like they would have a main event that was only for the international audience, like in Australia or like in the UK, like a Rebellion. That's what this feels like. That's what this match feels like. It is the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa and the Usos with Paul Heyman against Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle. What are we doing? I want to say something, and I want to make a comment about this.
Go ahead.
I really, 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 really enjoy Matt Riddle, Sami Zayn, and KO. Because Sami Zayn playing the middleman, while KO wants to kill Matt Riddle for being the most annoying son of a bitch in the world, might be my favorite thing going on Raw right now.
This is
so much.
This is like the three brothers, and you got the middle brother that's basically keeping peace between the two other brothers, and that's the way it is. Or if you want to basically go like a modern Three Stooges, okay, we'll do that, but it works.
Yeah, I love it. My favorite part is KO turning on like her being like, oh my god, he wants to hang out with us all the time. All the time. Like I was only half paying attention, but I cracked up laughing at that reading. The way he said that made me laugh so hard.
That's what I think. It's like the older brother doesn't want the younger brother tagging along. It's like, oh yeah, he's annoying. God, he's gonna be following us all the time. Well, guess what? Here he is.
By the way, my favorite part of last week's Raw, was, and nobody caught this reference. I'm probably the only people that caught the reference that they were doing. He brought up the Anastasia of Puerto Rico from Little Giants. I probably the only people that caught that damn reference, and I cracked up laughing. A lot of people did not catch it. A lot of people were like, oh, he's making some joke on Puerto Rico. It was a Little Giants reference. It's like, oh my god, I cannot believe he referenced Little Giants. I love that movie. I did not expect to hear that reference on Raw. Level. Anyway, back to the match. So I don't know what to do here. My common sense tells me that the way they're doing the whole storyline with Solo is you don't have the Bloodline win. And then you come back to SmackDown, and now Roman's more pissed that they lost this match. And then you have Solo becoming more angry and eventually turning on his brothers. But I don't know how that works either. So
okay, well then here's the thing. If you have family, there's infighting in family. So what you do is you set up a tag match where you've got Roman and Solo going against the Usos.
Now that would be interesting. Now that would be an interesting tag team.
And that's the thing, because as it stands right now, in storyline, the Bloodline is slowly disintegrating and falling apart.
I agree. So who wins this thing? I'm going with KO, Sami, and Matt Riddle, and I think Jay's getting pinned. For the storyline.
Yes. And here's the beauty part. I see Sami pinning Jay.
That would be cool. Now that makes storyline sense. That makes storyline sense right there. I like that. So we have our main events. We have Cody Rhodes taking on Brock Lesnar. Now, common sense says Cody should win this match.
Yes.
Do you follow common sense here?
I'd say Cody wins the match, because that you're going to still continue his storyline, because he still talk about it.
Ooh,
so
I just had a thought.
Okay, go ahead. Go with the thought.
Cody wins this match. We're trying to figure out how we get Cody out of that tournament and doesn't win the title. We're trying to figure out how to do that, right? At Night of Champions, you have Brock cost Cody his match to get into the final. Because Brock's going to be there anyway. You know the Saudi Arabia is going to want Brock there. You have Brock separately. You do whatever you do with Brock Lesnar separately.
Yeah.
And you have Brock cost Cody his match in the tournament. That's then needing a rematch between the two of them at SummerSlam or something.
Okay. So now do you put Brock back in the hunt to go against Roman?
No, not at all. What you do, you keep the Brock Cody rivalry going, and you
Yeah.
go to the title, and then we get another Brock Cody match down the road.
Okay.
Keep Brock and Roman away from each other because nobody wants to see that match. Nobody wants to see that anymore. Keep them away from each other, but because there's nothing to do with Roman.
The last one was entertaining, though. You gotta give it. The last one was entertaining.
I agree with you, but my whole point here is though that the whole thing is that Brock has nothing to do with Roman. Brock has a feud with Cody, so if Cody beats him here, Brock's gonna be more pissed off. So the next time he gets his hands on him will be at Night of Champions, and he costs Cody the title. Then we have a rematch, and that keeps Cody out of the title picture for a little while.
Okay.
And you have like Seth or someone else win the title, and that keeps Cody away from the title that nobody really wants him to hold anyway.
Okay.
I know it sounds complicated, but that's how you do it.
or we do the reverse scenario where, okay, Cody wins the new Raw belt.
I don't like that idea. That's the problem.
Okay, challenges Roman. He wins, and now you got Cody as the belt collector.
You're already breaking the fucking you're breaking the fucking draft before it even begins.
Because here's the thing that I'm thinking in the back of my head. You got to remember the company that Cody came from.
No, I'm not arguing with you. My whole point is though, I think you keep that belt off Cody as long as you possibly can. You do not put that World Heavyweight Championship on Cody anytime soon. You just don't do it. Because you know what it is? He had the consolation prize title reign then. Then what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, you can't beat Roman, so he wouldn't have bought on another belt. That's what it's going to feel like. You know, it's going to feel like. Like I said, we'll talk about that when the brackets come out.
Okay, got it.
By the way, our main event, San Juan Street Fight. It is, I can't believe I'm saying this. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. The funny part is, people are going to watch this because of Bad Bunny. It's not a Peacock. You're going to watch this because of Bad Bunny. But people, the funny part about this is a 1.5 year long fucking storyline. It's a year-long storyline because they were tag teamed last year at WrestleMania. So this is like a year-plus storyline. The people don't realize that could be a thing. I think I'm pretty damn crazy.
Here's the, I mean, when Bad Bunny was on action, he basically knocked out Finn Balor.
Oh no, it was Dominic. It was Dominic.
It was Dominic.
Okay, no, it was Dom. Because
when he knocked out Dom, you know, that made him like a badass. So it's like,
here's the thing. And let's just be completely blunt and honest here. There is no way in living hell in Puerto Rico that Bad Bunny can lose this match, or there will be a riot. There will be a fucking riot.
Hell no. If he loses, I guarantee you there's going to be guards at the border that's not going to let you cross, and they're going to say,
"Oh, they're in the same country. We're in the same country. But there will be a fucking riot in the fucking stadium. There is no way at all that Bunny can lose this match. There's no way.
No, I mean, not even a thought about that because
exactly. Let's just be honest here.
Here's the thing. You're going into Puerto Rico. And from my understanding is I don't think this is this the first time that WWE's been there to do
since 2006. Since 2006. Okay.
Do you really want to rock the boat and basically, you know, kill the cash cow?
Plus the fact that it's Bad Bunny, the biggest musical act in the world. You have him on your show. Legitimately, the biggest act on the planet. He was at the Met Gala during Raw. Like, he is the busiest guy in the world.
You do not want to embarrass this entertainer because it will come back to bite you in the ass.
I mean, his funny part is he's one of the few celebrities where he's like, well, where is Bad Bunny this week? Oh, he's at Coachella. Okay, cool. That's fine. That's what happened during this shoot. Like, he took 2 weeks off because he had to go to Coachella. Like, you know,
I mean,
the fact that he wrote this into this schedule Friday, Saturday for this pay-per-view says all you need to say about this guy.
I don't know about you, but me personally, I think Bad Bunny is more of a badass than Logan Paul.
I can't even argue with it. Logan Paul's a good wrestler, but Bad Bunny is a fucking badass. Let's be honest here.
And here's the thing. When he comes out with his entourage,
by the way, if Bad Bunny didn't come out wearing an LWO shirt, I'm going to be very disappointed. I'm going to say that right now. I'm going to come out wearing an LWO shirt with the LWO. I'm going to be
Bad Bunny's going to come out with Bad Bunny's gonna come up with an LWO shirt and he's gonna have a chain around him, guaranteed.
This is gonna be a fucking war. It's gonna be crazy as hell. There's no way no Bad Bunny loses. So that's our main event of the show. If this is the main event of the show, I'll be stunned. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be stunned if this is not the main event of the show. But this is probably the strangest pay-per-view we had in a while.
This particular match will be the main event.
Oh, yeah.
Will top everything, and I guarantee you, people will be talking about it come Monday at the water cooler. That this was probably the best match of the whole card.
I can't wait for people that don't watch WWE to watch this. It'd be like, wait, what's Bad Bunny doing? Like, what the hell's going on?
Wait.
He's in a
Bad
street
Bunny's not doing a concert?
like Bad Bunny is on WWE in a street fight with weapons. Like, what the hell's going on? I can't wait for the
Does he want to die?
Like, I can't wait for that reaction from the people that don't know what's going on. Like, I cannot wait for that on Saturday night. Like, you know that's going to be the reaction. You know it is. All right. Well, that is Backlash. I'm looking forward to that. I'll have a lot of fun. But let's get out of here since Sal is not here.
For more information on our show, including where you can find us on social media or watch the show on YouTube, go to theblakeandsalshow.com. Don't forget to comment or leave a rating and review, and we will read it on the show.
So we're going to close with a brand new song that came off the Linkin Park Meteora album, the Meteora 20th anniversary album, and that is Lost. They actually hit #1 on the charts with this song on a retro album. Go figure how that happened. They released one brand new track on the 20th anniversary Meteora album, and that was this song Lost, and it was a #1 song. That's how big Linkin Park still is in 2023.
So what you're telling me is Linkin Park is relevant again.
Yes, they are. And they're on the 20th anniversary album is fantastic. I listened to the whole thing. It's fantastic.
Got it.
So we'll close with Linkin Park. Dad, since we already had the whole South spiel, say your thing.
Hey, it's always been your pleasure. And if you happen to have a local independent wrestling organization where you live in, please patronize these people, because these are the future young men and women that want to come up in the world of professional wrestling, sports entertainment. You'll be amazed at what the type of characters they are, and the finishing moves and the moves in general, because they want to get up into that upper echelon where they want to work for a major company and make something of themselves. So please patronize these people. Like I said, you're going to be amazed on this. And quick side note for people in the music industry, Gordon Lightfoot passed away the other day at the age of 84. I'm not sure what he passed away from, but I know, to me, he had a big musical influence. His songs are fantastic. He was a great entertainer, and in the musical world, he will be surely missed. So my thoughts and prayers go out to his family and his fans and his friends. And hey, let's make this world a little nicer and try to get along as best we can.
See, here's the problem. Here's the problem. We don't do like celebrity deaths on this show lately because there's too many of them. Because we lost Len Goodman and Jerry Springer and all them too, like in the last week. But like we want to spend like an hour on the show talking celebrity deaths. That's the problem lately.
This is the only one this week. So
yeah, there you go. All right, well, next week. So Sam need the next week off as well. So we're gonna run the May Archive show a week early. So we're gonna do that next week. I'm gonna put that together right after this. I'm just gonna say, I'm not going to say what it is, but tune in. It is audio that hasn't been heard on the podcast since it originally aired 10 years ago, and it was lost to a computer crash. And I found the audio, and we're going to air it next week. It's really cool stuff. But join us next week for that. The week after, we'll be back, and we'll hopefully have the brackets for the World Heavyweight Championship thing. And we'll talk with Sal, and we'll see. I have no idea what's going to happen in 2 weeks. Also, if you missed it on Monday, we had our semifinal NHL second round picks with me, Sal, Mike, and Leandra. And you can see, read the description, because that show got nuts, and I'll admit I had a bit of a rant, and Mike lost his mind. It's definitely, for 15 minutes, there's a lot in there. So go listen to it. That being said, let's get out of here. I'm Blake.
I'm Mark.
And you're listening to the Blake and Sal Show with Mark. Have a good day, everybody.
Hey, we love you guys, and hey, go Devils!
Thank you so very much. Goodbye. Mwah, and good night.
Bye bye, bitch.